Thanks for stopping out, Chad, CK Knife and Tool. Thank you for stopping over and taking the time to see what I got going on over here. Well, if you've been following the channel quite a bit, or even a little bit, you know that I did a little series or an introduction on a Jasper. And I took you guys along for a little bit when I was designing it all out and my thinking and what I wanted to do with that. Well, I recently released a video with the skeletonized Jasper, as I like to say, a naked Jasper, and I'll put a link up above here someplace, or a picture right here, and as well as information down below. But I recently released the video on the naked Jasper. Now I have a dressed Jasper to show you guys. This Jasper is very special too, because it goes to a very unique woman who I happened to meet when I was in Michigan visiting my father. We stopped out and we picked up some wood from her. She had a bunch of old burls, and she was just a peach. I'd never met this woman before. My dad spoke with her briefly, and we stopped out there. He just called her up and said, hey, do you mind if we come by? We came by. We spoke. We spent probably 2-3 hours there at her place, looking around at wood and just talking in general. It was great. Then a couple days later, we'd gotten a phone call from her, and she invited us back out to look at a couple other things. And not only did she give us the graciousness of opening her home to us and talking to us about the wood and different travels and stuff like that, but then she gave me a couple of things to take on the way home, because we're leaving the next day to head out to Washington State to come back home again. And that was during that whole Upper Peninsula Michigan road trip video series I've been putting out lately. Well, her name is Garland. And I promised Garland, because she was just a peach, I told her, I'm going to make you a knife. And she didn't want one. She's, I don't need it. And I'm going to put pictures in here of Garland. She's quite the card. And I just got to say, quite the comic, a little bit sneaky. She managed to sneak some things. She took my son to the side and she talked to him a little bit, and we're on our way home, or we're getting back from the trip, and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, Dad, Garland told me to hold on to this until we got here, and Garland told me to give this to you. And she gave us a care package, which was magazines and water and hats and everything, and we drove back. And so I've been wanting to make this knife for her. And so talking to her a little bit, she didn't have any preferences of wood that I could find out. And she's like, well, if you're going to make me a knife, I don't care. But I showed her a special pin. And I showed her some of my custom pins that I get. And she just fell in love with this one pin. So I went ahead and made her a dressed Jasper. And it just looks cool. So let me show you what this thing looks like, guys. Okay, now I'm going to put out there right now, this is not going to be her sheath. I'm actually learning how to make leather knife sheaths. The reason why I don't do leather is, well, there's a lot of reasons behind it, but I've made one. I made one for my first knife. It was nice, but because what knives I do make and what they're usually used for, Kydex just really works a lot better for that application. But that's going to probably be a different video series about the leather sheaths and me learning how to make them and stuff like that. I'm just starting to get all the materials together, the leather, the tools, all that, and I'm starting to practice on that. So when I'm ready to rock and roll, I'm going to bring you guys along for a ride, and I'm going to make some knife sheaths, but more importantly, I'm going to make a sheath for Garland. I'm hoping to get this all done before Thanksgiving. Today it's October 24th or 25th. Everything's quite a blur because I've been in the knife shop since the day I got home from Michigan. I've been down here every day except for one day. So I've been down here at least, whether it's 4 hours or 9 hours, working on knives and getting things going. But this is the naked Jasper. Now, this is a Blade Tech Lock. Now, that's going to be extra, but I was just playing around with knife mounts and everything like that, and I actually made this because I was showing some people what the knives look like, and I wanted to present it in something that would be an idea for a production sheath. This is a Blade Tech Lock. And I did one of these also on my National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund knife. And they're really nice. The company's over here in Puyallup, Washington, so it's a local business to me. And I like to support companies like that, as you know, if you've been following the channel. But I did it in Coyote Brown, and this is to be mounted horizontally across the small of your back. Now, this could be rotated. This could be taken off. It could be mounted this way, and then you can mount it up high on your hip. So this way, this Blade Tech Lock turns like this, and then you can carry it this way. But I did put the finished ends of the rivets outward, so this would be against your body and this would point out. So the only caveat with reverse mounting it, is you wouldn't see the fancier part of the rivet if that bothers you at all. But anyhow, we're here for Garland's knife. Now, as you guys know, I fight a lot with the camera, and I'm going to go ahead and throw pictures in here as I'm talking about the knife. Now, what this is a dress to Jasper. And what I mean again by dressed is that it comes with scales. And as you recently learned, I also do a naked Jasper or a skeletonized version. Well, Garland's got a 7-inch Jasper, and this is hand sanded versus the acid stonewash finish that you can get with this knife. I decided to give her some really nice Cocobolo. I'm a big fan of Cocobolo. Many of you that might watch the channel probably realize there's only 2 or 3 woods that I really, really like. Cocobolo is one of them. Just phenomenal. I just love them to pieces. Well, not only did I give her Cocobolo, but I had custom pins made, and she's the first person to get one of these pins, and it's an Indian chief with a howling wolf. And this was really nice because as we were talking, she told me that she was part Indian. A quarter or something like that, a quarter or like 30% something. So she's part Indian. She has, I think it was her great-grandmother that was Indian. I don't remember the nationality or anything like that. I just know that she told me that she was American Native Indian before. So I thought that would be really cool. Also, something a little different is I decided instead of just a brass pin on the back or just a lanyard tube, I'd do that. And I really like that. As you see, it's just big enough for my pinky to fit in there. It's about 5/8 of an inch diameter hole. I'd have to measure it to give you guys an exact dimension here, and I think it was about 5/8. Yep, 5/8 of an inch hole. But it was really nice because you can see the tang through there. And as you know, I gave her a tapered tang. Again, if you're going to get scales, you're going to get a tapered tang unless you ask for a solid tang. Okay? I don't think I've made a knife yet that has a full tang and scales. So I might do it at some point, but not right now. But the tapered tang, Cocobolo, this really neat lanyard hole in the back, and just a lot of care and attention went into it, and I'm really pleased with this knife. So these knives are going to be showcased on my website at cknifeandtool.com, and if you've been following Instagram or Facebook at all, you've probably seen a couple of sneak peeks of this knife already. But these knives will be all priced out on my website, as well as pretty much any option like all my knives are. I like to give you guys as much input as possible on the knife that you want to order from me. This gives you, basically it's your knife. It's not just that you're buying a knife from a custom knife maker like myself or somebody else, but that you have as much input as I can possibly give you guys on the knife that you're buying. I really like that idea, and I really like to stick with that. Now, granted, I'm going to start trying to get all this out before November 1st because I'm hoping to get all this information out there for sales to begin so I can get you guys knives at Christmas. So that's my hopes. So other than that, thank you very much for stopping over. Don't forget, jump over to Facebook. If you're on Facebook, look me up there, Instagram, MeWe, and the newest addition to the family is Patreon. If some of you like my videos, you want to support the channel, and maybe right now buying a knife isn't in your budget, jump over to Patreon. I have 3 levels of support that I'm asking for folks like you, because if you find one of my videos, I'll link up here above what I've been dealing with the Google and the YouTube, and how even Facebook is getting against knife makers and stuff in general. Patreon is a really great way to support small channels like mine, and there's also other ways that you can win things by jumping over there and becoming a Patreon supporter. So jump over to patreon.com/cknifeandtool. Check that stuff out. But until the next video, guys, you take it easy. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping over. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.